the first day of our Stevenson adventure. Just left Le Puy civilization and now it's going back to nature, which is very exciting, and really looking forward to sharing my insights and this beautiful landscape, and hopefully taking you on a little virtual journey. And we all know that time ultimately is the only thing that matters, because that's one thing we for sure will run out of. We are so concerned about running out of money or running out of energy or things to do, but time we usually don't dare to think about. So I thought about time, and I was wondering, what is the best use of time? Should we slow it down? Well, as soon as I thought that, yesterday, the last mile and a half just felt excruciatingly slow. It was unbelievable. I thought, like, okay, this is maybe like an hour, not even an hour, 45 minutes or a little bit less, but it never ended. It was as if time was standing still. And this had to do a lot with the discomfort and the pain that I had in my body. But it also had to do with hope. Yes, hope. Because hope is not really always what it's made out to be. See, I had hope that when it said it's about an hour, a mile and a half, that it would be there pretty quickly. You know, right around the corner, there should be this refuge that we were supposed to stay overnight. But one corner after another showed nothing but trees and the forest, and sometimes some cows, but that was pretty much it. So the hope went pretty quickly into disappointment, just like expectations can just be dashed by these disappointments that then go into more frustration, and then of course with frustration you feel your discomfort more. Maybe the best use of time is just to be in the flow and go with it and try to be present with that what life brings us, being present with our sensations, and even if it's painful at times. Because if I was one thing yesterday on that last mile and a half, I was very present. I wasn't super happy, but I was present, and I'm certainly probably not gonna forget this last bit of yesterday's journey for a long time. So if time is just an opportunity for us to be mindful on collecting as many memories and experiences as possible, I think if we do that, thank you, time. I think if we do that, and if we're not really going into a place of autopilot where we're just, going through the motions, completely unaware, not even noticing how our body feels, not even noticing what's around us, because we are so in our head, so about thinking about the future or about the past, that is the waste of time. But being present, being here and now, and at the same time also really taking in the good and the bad just as a part of the journey, I think that will leave us in the end without any regrets, because we did it all. I personally don't think that I signed up for life just to be happy and blissful. I think I signed up for the whole deal. And the whole deal means also going through the valleys of life and feeling those pains and those things that we usually try to ignore or try to get away from. because in the contrast is certainly something that allows us to experience joy and health and peace so much more than if it would be always present. But that's a whole other topic for another day of hiking and contemplating. What I find so amazing about the body is its ability to heal itself, and that we are often just ignoring how well our body is supporting us. You know, how often do we have negative thoughts about our body, how it looks and how it ages, and maybe that there are these little aches and pains that bother us, and we're not really appreciating how much our body is doing for us every day. I met a guy who talked about how he is doing extreme marathons, which are like 2 or 3 marathons in a row. And he said it's all a matter of mind over matter. But I think we have to not just put the mind over the matter, over the body, but really be mindful with our bodies and just try to listen to what they need. Because in the end, it is our vehicle. I believe we are these infinite, eternal consciousness or spirits that will leave the body behind at some point when we take our last breath. But until then, our body serves us so well to have this human experience, and I think we need to just honor, acknowledge, and appreciate our body just like we would a horse. If we would travel with a horse on a long journey, we would feed it, we would water it, we would make sure it has everything it needs, and that is, I think, the relationship our body also deserves. So be kind to your body and just appreciate it today rather than criticizing it. Well, one day left on this pilgrimage back to nature and the pilgrimage back to myself. What have I learned during these past 11 days, these 180 miles walking through the highlands of the Cevennes, up and down the hills, sometimes for 8-9 hours a day? Well, I learned that I'm not a Buddhist monk or any Zen brother who can just go through those experiences and feels completely at ease at all times. I reminded myself I am human in many ways and I do struggle. Now, there is a physical struggle I talked about before, but then there is also the mind that actually, as we know, can be the biggest noisemaker and the one that creates the most trouble. So there is a part of my mind that certainly tried to somehow get me out of the moment, especially when I really tried the hardest just to focus on one step and another, because we never really know when we're gonna arrive. It was always somehow this hope it's gonna be around the next corner, but it was never happening. So in those moments when you really need to have the focus and stay calm, that mind part just started to pipe up and basically stirred the pot. Starting with focusing on the physical issues and then about the what ifs, if it's going to be longer than we thought, if we are running out of water. And then it goes even further to, my work and my new book and the clients and the family and, the Amazon burning and who knows. This part of the mind has an endless repertoire of things to focus on and pull me away from the present moment. Now, what do you do with this part of your mind? I always feel like we need to talk to the parts of our mind that wants our attention. But this part of the mind you can talk to forever, because its job is just to bring up new topics to be concerned about or new topics to worry about. And so maybe we are better off to accept what is and maybe do some reframe around it and really find ways to embrace it, rather than just not even notice what we have or just try to judge it as not good enough or criticize it, and therefore constantly live in the lack and never in the fullness. I don't know that I completely got to the nature of myself, but I think reminding myself that peace is really important to me, and naturally reminding myself of my name, Peaceman. I think that got me at least in the right direction. Thanks for listening.